Okay, hello everyone, and welcome along to another episode of Championship Drill, where we look back on all things EFL Championship and taking in the weekend games today. Joined by Phil and Jerry as always. Some good games yesterday, guys.
Yeah, yesterday was kind of bad. There was a few good results.
Yeah,
Mad results, red cards, fights, crazy stuff in yesterday's games. It must be said. But we'll start Friday night, the big derby match, derby against Nottingham Forest. Not the greatest game on earth, really. Derby started well enough. Ribeiro, what do you make of that? Do you think handball, not handball, when he slid in to block the shot?
yeah, but like,
Yeah.
It's one of those you've seen them given and you've seen them not given.
Yeah. It's
So-
very, I don't know. I honestly, I could go either way.
Yeah. Forrest took the lead then through Garner. A terrible goalkeeping mistake, really, by Marshall. Marshall then.
I delighted for him because he's a Man United loanee.
Yeah. His first senior goal.
Yeah. He was
it
at loan at
should have been.
Forest. Well, he was at loan at Forest for 6 months. Or not Forest.
Yeah.
Watford.
Yeah, he's another one, kind of like Glenn Whelan.
Yeah.
No,
He's
they
only
didn't
like 18.
Yeah. Didn't get his chance when he was there on loan. But Marshall, experienced keeper, should have done better. He then came off injured with a back injury.
Yeah.
Came on in goal, and he made a decent save from Garner this time. A much better effort than the one he scored with.
Yeah.
But the sub-keeper saved it. Forrest should have been 2 up, really, and they were going to pay for that, which is kind of a theme through the games here. Teams not taking their chances and ending up paying for it.
Yeah.
Today, Kazim Richards, nice volley, took it well.
It shouldn't have counted. It shouldn't have counted.
Yeah, it's one of those where they'd probably say, well, it hit him first, but it came off the center.
He did this thing.
Yeah.
To control it.
Clearly used his hands to control the ball.
Yeah.
But the referee did it or whatever. And after he scored, which I think there was about 6 minutes of normal time left when he took it home, that's only really when the game came to life.
Yeah.
Both teams just went for it then, that stage. Couple of chances for either team, but Lee Gregory definitely had the best chance. He was about 10 yards out when he got the ball and he completely scuffed the shot wide.
Yeah.
But not bad.
Obviously, both playing it safe, Steve. I think Kazim Richards, yet again, he's been someone to bring back into a team and do so well. Like Jason Knight, you look kind of good all game, But I say Marshall could be out for a while, guys. Like a back injury, that's never encouraging for a goalkeeper, especially. I suppose he's in his late 30s now. It's big loss for Derby.
Massive.
It will be a lot of experience to that defence that he brings along, and already they've got Boylick, I think, is out injured at the minute as well.
I think Derby are safe now, lads.
Yeah, Derby are 9 clear of relegation. Forest are 11 clear of relegation. Forest are actually closer to the playoffs now than relegation. 9 points off the playoffs.
Bizarre.
That's actually unbelievable.
Yeah. I think statistically, I'd say, just say for argument's sake, when the new season starts next year, or this year, you only put money on Forest to be in the playoffs, because you could just only imagine what Houghton's going to do. Do you know what I mean? He's going to get through the season now. You know what I mean? Obviously, they're playing decent football, but as you said, next season's a different story.
Flockhart is unbelievable in the championship.
Oh, brilliant!
He was very good. Very good. And they had that, I can't remember his name now, but the Polish lad they had playing as well on Friday night was very impressive.
He was from West Brom, wasn't he?
Philip Kronik, is it?
Yeah.
He was very, very good on Friday night. He looked very, very dangerous.
Cafu. I know we know the real Cafu, like the AC Milan Cafu, but Cafu's brilliant for Forest as well.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
You're
right though. I'm going to say Forest to come up next year.
Yeah, you just know what he's going to do. He's, you know what I mean.
He made them so hard to beat now, Forest, that if they can just get the wins rather than the draws,
they can bring in more good players as well.
They don't need a lot. They really don't.
No.
So we'll wait and see, I suppose, on Forest next season. But the afternoon kickoff yesterday was kind of a crazy game.
Yeah.
Not a lot in this one happened again till near the end, really. Bournemouth winning 1-0, big win for them, like over Watford, who've been very good away from home recently. Not so much all season, but recently they've been good. And the first win for Woodgate since he was appointed until the end of the season.
Yeah.
They got very, very nasty. I think Cleverly had probably the best chance when it was 0-0, played through by Sarr, but he missed it. Bournemouth got the goal. Watford will be like, they will not be happy with how they conceded, really.
No.
Danjuma finished well, but it was just a free kick that was just played straight over the top, and nobody really reacted to it quickly enough, except Danjuma. Raced away and he scored. Lerma was very good all game, and they just started kicking him.
Yeah.
Near the end of the game.
And then it all just started kicking off.
Yeah, I think Chaloba pushed Lerma in the face. He didn't really smack him. He kind of pushed him in the face.
Yeah.
And Lerma really overreacted.
Yeah.
But he ended up getting booked, his 10th booking of the season, which means he'll miss 2 games now. But Lerma, he did overreact, but you can't put your hand into someone's face.
Yeah, exactly. It reminded me of that thing Liverpool years ago with Robin.
Yeah. I mean, it just...
He kind of did
got
that.
Really yeah. It got really, really nasty.
Yeah.
It got really, really nasty after that.
Wilshere got involved then at the end.
Yeah.
Wilshere was a banker to get involved, though. Like, I said it from the start, like, if there's ever a tear-up, Wilshere's in the middle of it, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Bad ending to the game. Obviously, look, they were both probably the automatic picks to go back up into the Premier League. But, like, you know what I mean? It's from the 68 minute on, the game was entertainment. Like, but at the end, it was just mad. It was,
Again, it was it was one of those where I think what happened with that incident with the hand to the face was Bournemouth felt he should have been sent off, and the Watford players felt he was diving. So the Watford players almost targeted him after that.
Yeah.
It was a tackle on him that saw Pedro get sent off again. And things just went nasty. Like, I think the whistle gone, I think, when Wilshere was sent off. He'd only been
It was. Yeah, it was.
He'd only been on since the 75th minute, and he picked up 2 yellow cards. But the one that got him sent off, it was a bit, I don't know, he kind of pushed the guy in the chest. I think the ref just started off fighting again, and I think that's what he got. Yeah.
But he ignited the brawl, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's what I'd say. Both clubs probably going to be fined for not controlling their players.
Yeah.
Nasty end to a game. It wasn't a great game, but that's what people will be talking about in all the papers today. Will be the fight at the end of it. So, well, it wasn't really a fight. It was a lot of pushing and shoving and nonsense. But you can't be doing that. It doesn't look good in the league. It doesn't look good in either team, really. Watford stay third because of results elsewhere, really. Well, Bournemouth also climbed back into 6th because of Cardiff not getting a win yesterday.
So,
was that?
It's very interesting. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. We'll wait and see what happens. I imagine both clubs are going to be fine, though, but I can't see much more than that happening.
They'll get a 50 grand fine or something like that.
Yeah. For Watford, though, now they're going to be missing 2 players. In Chaloba and in Pedro. Pedro is very important to them, and now he's going to be missing because of that red card as well. So,
do you reckon Watford would slip out of playoffs?
I don't know. I mean, it's one of those where it depends on the run you go on, and I suppose we'll come to Swansea later, who are in a bit of... They're not in poor form. They're just not taking their chances in games.
Yeah.
And they're starting to lose matches, which is dangerous.
Yeah.
When you have teams really pushing for the playoffs this time of the season, you don't want to be hitting a bad run of form.
Yeah.
What I find bizarre, and I know we're going to come to, is Reading have lost 11 games this season.
Yeah, the same amount as Barnsley as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Reading, did they win their first 8 games at the start of the season?
They went on a mad win run at the start, and they're still kind of picking up enough wins to stay in there. But they're a team that you could see losing a couple of games between now and the end of the season that could drop out as well.
Yeah.
But we'll wait and see. It'd be unlucky for Reading because they're the team that have been there all season, really.
Yeah.
We move on to a team then flying it. Barnsley beating Millwall 2-1. Both teams pretty good form coming into this one. Barnsley had won 4 in a row. Millwall hadn't lost in 9.
Yeah.
Barnsley opened the scoring early. Kind of a disaster of a goal, really. Mouth ball into the box. Woodrow fired home. Barnsley then were kind of searching for a second. hitting the break a little bit by Bennett. Fired across the keeper. Did well. Bennett almost gave them the lead. Really should have. Like Collins made a good save for that. Moe then I think had a free kick that was tipped over or just clipped the bar. And a long ball upfield, then flicked on by Anderson to Helik, who like a great volley that you couldn't save really. I mean, he was only about 8 yards out.
I was reading before the game started, kind of on social media, that they had no recognised forwards. Millwall played no forward yesterday.
Yeah, and Bennett. Yeah, Bennett looked dangerous for them though. I mean, he got the goal. He should have scored another one.
Yeah, he should have scored a second one at the end.
Yeah, and I suppose Barnsley just keep the run going. Like 7 now, just a point outside the playoffs with a game in hand over Bournemouth, who they're a point behind. They also have a game in hand over Reading, who they're 3 points behind. Millwall dropped down to 12th.
About Barnsley as well. They were 3 points off relegation when the manager came in.
Yeah, sure. I mean, they looked doom and gloom. Like, remember when their other manager left, saying, "Look, they're not giving me anything to work with here. I want to try and bring the team up. They're not giving me any money to spend." And he went off to New York Red Bulls.
Yeah.
And then they bring in a guy, and he's really turned them around.
Yeah. Like the thing is now, like if the Watford manager gets sacked, would they bring this guy in?
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean?
Will he go? Let Watford lose another game, they'll probably will sack the manager. It's 5 wins in a row now for Barnsley, though. And Millwall 12th. I suppose Millwall are one of those teams that next season could go either way. If they can get a good goal scorer in there, they have the foundation to push for the playoffs too, because they're usually good at the back. Yesterday, they were a bit iffy for a couple of goals, but they're sitting 12th. They don't lose a lot. They draw way too many games.
Yeah.
But that good striker could turn them around.
Yeah.
Interesting. Jeez, it'll be some story, lads, at Barnsley do end up in that playoff. Oh my God.
Yeah.
They'll be the most dangerous because they have nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. 5 wins in a row. Their aim to start the season was stay up. Yeah. So, they're in dreamland here.
Imagine they got promoted to the Premier League.
I love it.
And the thing with Barnsley too is it's a good team effort from them always. You wouldn't say they've got like one outstanding individual. They just play so well as a team.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's a team game. You can have those individuals that can bail you out now and then, but it is usually the best team that wins.
Yeah.
Definitely. Agreed.
You look at, so we move on then to Birmingham, who I think was 13 games without a win at home before they won yesterday. 2-1 against
Jerry said they'd win this one.
Yeah.
They got 13 without a win at home, which was kind of crazy. And QPR came into the game without losing their last 7 away games, which was their best run in 10 years. They were kind of caught late on, really. Birmingham probably deserved to win in this one. Yeah. They looked pretty decent.
They've been good for the last 3 games.
They have. They just haven't got the results in one of them, I think. Then the Sheffield Wednesday game. A bit lucky. Charlie.
The manager definitely was healthier looking during his interviews.
Yeah. I mean, they're still in a lot of trouble. They still got to keep winning, but they're in a much better position now. Charlie Austin last season scored 2 for West Brom away to Birmingham.
Yeah.
And he scored again yesterday for QPR, which is his 4th goal in 9 games since he came back.
He looked offside.
Did look offside. He did. Yeah. To be fair. It should have been 2. Yeah, 2 not long afterwards. Chris Willock, who's pretty decent for him since he came in terms of creating chances. He set up Johansson, who somehow put the ball over the bar from about 6 yards out. I don't know how he did it. Karanka then made a couple of changes. He brought on Halovic, Leko, Djukowicz, and they turned the game really, like they really did.
Yeah.
Pedersen headed in to have them level. Halovic, who came in free transfer, really nice goal for him in this one, I thought.
Yeah.
When he was a youngster, how they love to give people names, he was known as the Croatian Messi. And it was a goal Messi would have probably been proud of yesterday.
The lad that was with AC.
What's that?
The guy that was with AC Milan at one point.
Yeah, I think so. And he was supposed to be the next big thing, and now he's found his way to Birmingham. And he played well when he came on yesterday, helped them turn the game around. This is, though, a big win for Birmingham. Like you said, Jerry called that they would win.
Yeah.
But it's the first time since they beat Huddersfield at the end of October 28, that they've scored more than one goal at home. And it's only the second time since a 3-3 draw with Hull last June.
Yeah.
So Birmingham really aren't scoring enough goals at home.
Well,
they're not scoring enough goals in general.
Yeah, as you said, they've done survival hopes, no harm. I think they're on 34 points. Rotherham are behind them on 29, but they have 2 games in hand. So look, it's going to be a crazy few weeks. I just have a feeling that Birmingham now will rack up a couple of wins. They're not going to win every week, but I think they might just about stay up.
Yeah,
might just stay up. They look very good though, Steve, as you said. You know what I mean? They really did kind of, even formation-wise, they were good. You know what I mean? It's a huge change around the pitch. Scott Hogan's kind of always up front playing the lone striker, but Sanchez there and Garner pull in a good shift. You know what I mean? And as you say, QPR are no mugs. They've been good the last couple of weeks. As you say, Willock has been immense. Charlie Austin is just like the old Charlie Austin.
Yeah.
But savage win for Birmingham. And as I say, it'd be great to see him go up. Great city, great fans. You know what I mean? It's they deserve to stay up. I think. You know what I mean? If they keep playing the way they're going to play.
Yeah, absolutely. Move on into a draw yesterday, Blackburn Coventry. Both sides played pretty well this one, I thought. Coventry started well. McCallum had a good shot that hit the bar. He then dragged one wide. Shipley hit a volley that just went over. And it took Blackburn a bit of time to get into this one. And kind of Harvey Elliott got him going. He put in a lovely cross that the defender beat Breherton to. And I don't know, it was an awful goal to give away, really, from Coventry.
Yeah,
and they failed to clear it. It fell to Breherton, who fired it home. But it was awful. There was a few of them yesterday in the matches where the defenders had plenty of chances to get rid of the ball. They just didn't. Yeah. Ostergaard then had a goal ruled out for offside. And then Douglas, I think, hit a free kick that missed everyone and hit the post. Yeah. And then I think McCallum, who was very good yesterday, put in a cross early in the second half. Walker headed it down. James fired it in for the equaliser. Coventry probably looked a bit more dangerous in the game yesterday. I think Armstrong had 1 or 2 half chances again, as he always does.
Yeah.
But a good draw. Coventry 6 clear relegation now with the point, and it's steadying draw for Blackburn, who needed something.
The best I've seen Blackburn in a while.
Yeah, I mean they needed something because they were on such a bad run.
I think they set up to just not lose.
Yeah. What was interesting, I found with Coventry yesterday watching the game, and it's something other teams have been doing a little bit recently. Armstrong is so good off the back of the last defender. Yeah. He's so quick and he times his runs perfectly a lot of the time. Teams have been sitting much deeper against Blackburn and they're denying him that space to run in behind.
Yeah.
So it was kind of interesting. They're going to have to find another way of getting him into games. He is good in the air as well, for a guy that isn't the biggest man in the world. They'll be looking to the likes of Harvey Elliott now to kind of get through those kind of defences, because it seems like teams are starting to realise if we sit a bit deeper, we're going to deny Armstrong what his best weapon is, which is that running in behind the defence, kind of the way Vardy does, I suppose, for Leicester City. Play off the last man. You sit deep, he always finds it a bit trickier.
I think Mark Robbins has done an amazing job.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have any kind of players that anybody could, game changers, I suppose.
Yeah, they're
a bit like Barnsley. Like, they're the team.
Yeah. Good team, yeah. And they're made up, a lot of them, from players that have a point to prove that were kind of rejected by other clubs.
Yeah. 2 good clubs, though, as you said. To be, if I had Coventry or Blackburn on my CV, I'd be a happy man. It's they're great clubs, and as you said, you know what I mean. Harvey Elliott's, he's the guy that has to kind of open up them, the defense when he's playing against teams, because he's got that bit of a spark. Obviously, Adam Armstrong. I think they've kind of gone 3 up front. You know what I mean? In the sense, obviously they played. It's kind of like a 4-1-2, But I think if they had Harvey Elliott closer to Adam Armstrong, he was kind of playing just a bit away from him, you know what I mean, yesterday. But if they had Elliott near him a bit more, I think that combination of the two of them kind of linking up well again will happen. I just think, your man, I think who's up front, Ben Pennington, is it?
Yeah.
I think obviously if they kind of brought, now he scored a goal, and it looks good, you know what I mean? But I just think sometimes when you change a little formation a small bit, it takes the attention off someone like, and I think Armstrong might feel the effects of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No,
But Brereton is so good last season, playing from midfield, scored about 10, 12 goals or something for Blackburn.
Yeah.
Bad injury then, though. He did his knee, I believe. He's out for a year.
Yeah.
He scored a lot since he came back. But yeah, they need people around Armstrong if teams are going to sit deeper, because that's not his strength.
Yeah.
His strength is using that pace and behind, and it's and his ability to finish.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see what happens to Blackburn the rest of the season, because they're safe. And Coventry, like we said last week, Coventry are good enough to pick up a few wins here and there to keep them up, and they have a 6-point gap now between them and the relegation places as well, which is a decent cushion to have, I suppose.
Yeah. Exactly.
Move on then to Brentford, who were kind of putting a bit of a run together again after their 3 defeats, couple of wins back to back. Game of two halves here, really. First goal, was it 27 seconds into it or something along those lines, when Ray decided to play out from the back, which Brentford do all time, to be fair, and decided he was going to pass it to Tommy Smith about 8 yards out, who squared it for Brown to just tap in. And I don't know, something happened to Brentford after that goal went in, and they really didn't get going in the first half at all.
Yeah, it was a weird one.
It was really, really poor. Then they come out in the second half, much different team.
Yeah.
Really, really good goal. I know Jerry was talking in the midweek show about the young players that Brentford have, and one of them is Janlet, who's a German under-21 international.
Yeah,
unbelievable strike.
That goal was unbelievable, yeah.
An unbelievable strike.
But the thing as well was Stoke played 5 defenders yesterday.
Yeah, they were trying to deny it. And the thing is, the goal that the ultimate winner from Ivan Toney is 25th of the season, back in the lineup today. It was one that he just outmuscled the guy that was marking him, because the guy couldn't have been tighter to him.
Yeah.
Cousins did hit the bar for Stoke, a little lob that kind of just landed on the crossbar and came back.
Yeah.
Brentford had a few other chances. Big win, though, as they say, second. Big win is most, especially because of what happened to Watford and Swansea yesterday.
Yeah.
Stoke, though, 9 away defeats in a row.
Yeah.
We talked about it in the midweek, though. That's worrying, yeah. As well as they did play defensively yesterday. I mean, they were undone by the best striker in the league and an absolute wonder goal from Janlet. So, you can't give out too much about how Stoke defended yesterday, but yeah, that's got to be really worrying, O'Neill, that they are really, really struggling away from home.
I was watching the thing there with the manager came on after the game saying that he was very impressed with his team, Brentford, because they broke down the 5-man defence.
They just have the players to do that.
Yeah.
And when you've Ivan Toney, who could nearly look after 2 centre-backs by himself and still win the ball and hold it up, he's so strong and so big.
Yeah.
All the attributes to be a great, like, as we say, he's kind of up. He's in every episode we've had so far. We've probably mentioned him, like, but he's the out-and-out striker, like, you know what I mean? He reminds me of Emile Heskey, but just a more clinical finisher, like, you know what I mean? Great to hold up the ball, great vision, and as you say, you know what I mean? He's got a great eye for goal. Just reminds me of Heskey when he was at Leicester.
Yeah.
Didn't really miss many, like, always scoring goals.
It reminds me of. I think if you were to look at strikers, like your Premier League team, and you're looking at English strikers, you could probably sign Toney in the summer for probably somewhere between 30 and 45 million.
Yeah.
And I think the only other striker who's English you could get who's like him is Calvin Lewin at Everton, who'd probably cost you 120.
Yeah.
That's
it. Yeah. No, you're right.
So it's Brentford, even if they go up, they might
keep to Arsenal perfectly, to be honest.
It'd be great. It'd be a great replacement for Lacazette at Arsenal.
Yeah.
If they were to sell
How old is Toney? 26?
Something like that. I don't know even that. But he's a great. Yeah. He's so good, though. But again, it's, we'll see if Brentford go up, if they'll hang on to him. We'll see what he's like in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But like you said, I don't see why he wouldn't succeed in the Premier League, because he's so clinical and so strong. A bit of confidence.
He got Coventry up, really, didn't he, last year?
Who's that, Toney?
Yeah.
Oh, he was at Portsmouth, I think, or Plymouth, rather.
Peterborough.
Peterborough,
that's it. He was at one of the P's, yeah. He did well for them last season, though.
Yeah, 40 goals in 76 games. Unreal.
Yeah. And Brentford, they needed someone to replace Ollie Watkins, who got 27 last season. Tony is 25 already.
Yeah.
And I think they paid about a third of what they got for Ollie Watkins.
Yeah. They paid 10 million, I think.
Yeah, which is crazy. Which is a lot of money for a League One player, though.
Yeah.
Well spent, though.
Well spent, absolutely.
A lot, easily.
Yeah. Move on then to the game yesterday. Me and Phil were talking about this yesterday. I have a friend who's a Sheffield Wednesday season ticket holder, and he was saying after the midweek game he was going to go down and demand his money back for the season ticket that he still hasn't funded for yet. But after yesterday, I should probably send him a message to check in on him.
Yeah.
Wednesday were 2-0 up through a Windass double, and Windass really should have had about 4 goals yesterday.
Yeah.
It should have been about 4-0 before half time. Luton then made a number of changes. They made the difference. Naismith, his first goal since joining in January. Tunnicliffe equalised soon afterwards, and Adebayo scored his second since joining from Walsall. Luton's second win only in 8 games, but they're 12 clear of relegation now, while Wednesday 6 points from safety. This game had only 6 shots on target but 5 goals. That's why there's not a whole lot to talk about.
But the manager changed the whole system at half time.
He did. He saw what was happening, and he said, when you're 2 goals down, what can you do? You have to go for it.
Yeah.
And Wednesday's defending was awful.
Yeah. Even was it just me, or was it when they scored? Was it the second goal? Your man didn't care.
Yeah, it just absolutely killed them. It looked, and the winner, Adebayo's header at the back post, I don't know how that went in. There was 2 defenders and the goalkeeper there with him.
The keeper hit it in, though.
Yeah, it was crazy. Absolutely crazy. An awful goal
but
to get
this
away.
Is the kind of defeat now that Sheffield Wednesday get relegated because of this.
Yeah, that'll drive them mental.
Yeah.
Because they're 6 points from safety, which, when you think they were deducted 6 points, means that they are not doing that well. They would still be right down there even without the points deduction.
Yeah. No, they're in trouble. It's no doubt about it. It's as you said, they're losing too many games, and it obviously goes to show, you know what I mean? But obviously, Josh Windass was, he was decent. That's encouraging to have a guy scoring goals. Brown and Barry Bannon, they're good players, but you know what I mean? Wednesday way up the table.
Yeah, they should.
No point deduction, but look, how many points again was it?
6. Well, it was 12, but it was reduced to 6 halfway through the season.
Yeah, 2 games, you know what I mean? It's not good enough. It's and Luton, obviously James Collins is on the bench. No, I think he's only back from an injury, but I mean they're Luton have proven a lot of critics wrong this season. They do set up well, you know what I mean? Well, yeah.
Wednesday will be the point, because Luton don't score 3 goals in matches. It just doesn't happen unless the defence is giving them those chances.
Yeah.
And they did yesterday. Big win for them, because 12 points clear relegation. They should feel safe now, especially with all the teams between them and the bottom. So,
it's just, we don't know. It's football, you know what I mean? Like I say, if Wednesday went down, it would be a catastrophe. And I feel for your friend. Do you know what I mean? You have to get on for an episode, maybe the aftermath of Wednesday being relegated, maybe. Jesus, box office.
Yeah. Middlesbrough, then Cardiff. We come on to 2 managers in this game. Between them have taken charge of 2,480 matches.
And the combined age of 134.
Yeah, there you go. So it's crazy. Very, very experienced. Both of them are going to be hugely disappointed with the goals they gave away.
Yeah.
Because if you think of, Borough dominated the first half, didn't really create an awful lot, but totally against the run of play, they were down a goal at half time. And if you think of Cardiff and you think of what Mick McCarthy does, you have to be alert at set pieces.
Yeah.
And it was a long throw. Morrison didn't even have to jump.
Yeah.
Which is really, really poor defending. Long throw onto his head, and it's 1-0 to Cardiff. And then the McNair equaliser. That was just a comedy of errors at the back.
Yeah.
It was another one of those, like Wycombe's goal midweek. It was just a mad goal-mouth scramble that kind of came to McNair eventually at the back post, and he just tucked it home, smashed it in. Not a lot of great chances in this one, really.
No.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised that Ojo doesn't start for Cardiff. You know what I mean? I think when he plays, he's really good. Now, obviously, Josh Murphy and Keith Moore are fantastic up front, but I'm surprised Ojo doesn't kind of start. like his connection link with Harry Wilson's incredible, and I think he scored a couple of goals this season. You know, he's obviously still on loan from Liverpool, but I think Ojo would offer more up front, not taking nothing away from the front too. You know, it's just he's more lively, he's a lot stronger than Murphy as well. So I don't know if that's something they're going to go down the road. You know, but I think that's something that they could jump on straight away, having him start more games. I know he comes on and he does a lot, but yeah, he's on the bench quite a bit. You know what I mean? It's
dangerous when he comes on, especially when he's playing down the right wing. He seems to be very, very good.
Yeah, no, they buy him.
I don't think so. I think he's still on loan.
Okay, he's on loan.
I think he's on loan as well, and I think himself and Harry Wilson are on loan from Liverpool.
Yeah, I just think, like, as you say, he's a spark on the wing there. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, as you said, Josh Murphy and Kiefer Moore are fantastic. But I like, you know what I mean? I did try and get Ojo in the team somehow, even if, you know, it means dropping someone else.
That's it.
Because he's brilliant. I think he'd make a huge difference down the flank.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose two good teams that are managed by two experienced managers, they just kind of cancelled each other's out. They were able to take away, you know, what both teams do well from each other. But like I said, those 2 goals, though, they'll be killing their players.
Yeah.
The way they conceded those goals. But Cardiff stay unbeaten under McCarthy. He said afterwards,
Steve Collins, yeah.
Yeah, but it's I didn't think they'd use, but you know, 3 draws and 6 wins is not bad from your first 9 games in charge. They drop out the playoffs though, but they're 8th. They're still right in the hunt. Borough though 3 points further back in 9th. You know, so
I think you're more dangerous in the hunt, to be honest. I think if you're in a playoff now with like still 12, 13 games to go, it's quite intimidating to be in there. So I think if you're just within distance of that playoff spot, I think that's where you'd rather be, chasing it rather than being in there.
Absolutely.
A lot of pressure, like when you're in there, you know.
Yeah.
And with Borough and with Cardiff, you have 2 managers who have done it before, and they'll know how to talk their players through that kind of pressure.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's going to be interesting to see. Whereas the likes of Barnsley and Reading have, you know, they're just Reading been flying high all season, but you know, they're not guys that are used to this kind of challenge.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Move on then to Preston yesterday.
Shock.
Yeah, I thought Brad Potts was outstanding.
Yeah,
he was very good yesterday. That said, Huddersfield should have been 2 up before Preston scored.
Yeah.
4 miss, and to me that was a blatant penalty.
Yeah, 100%.
And that could have been a red card if that penalty is given.
That's it.
He was about to fire a shot in.
Yeah, I suppose if we're going to have this conversation about VAR all the time, but like, the ref, how the ref missed it, I don't know.
Yeah, Huddersfield though 7 points off relegation zone, and Rotherham have 2 games in hand over them. Only the 5th home win of the season though for Preston, and they hadn't won in the last 7. In Benza, I think, and O'Brien a good effort saved as well. Like you said, Huddersfield could have been 2 or 3 up.
Yeah, they probably should have been, to be honest.
Yeah, and then Potts and Evans kind of combined for a couple of goals. Potts got the first. Evans, I don't know how that went in. Talking about him in midweek about how good Sky thought he was.
Yeah.
I mean, he nearly missed that from about 7 yards out. He hit it straight at the defender when he had the whole goal to aim for.
Yeah.
And got really lucky with the deflection.
Yeah, it was weird.
Their 3rd goal was very good though. Nice flowing team move. Lovely pass from Barkhausen with the outside of his foot, and Sinclair at the back post to tap in. But it must be like when you see Preston winning 3-0, their fans, this game must, as much as they like to win it, it must almost hurt more because they see what the team are capable of and they just don't produce every week.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Every time he's going to be sacked, this happens.
Yeah. He's a cat with 9 lives, you know what I mean? But look, maybe like as you say, all we want to do is see Preston win games. Like, you know, if they're going to be close to a playoff now, if they keep winning, then you're saying right. Maybe next year we get it right, you know. But like tactically, they actually set out all right. To be fair, I think Andy Gordon's made a huge difference since he's come in. Sinclair looked good. You know, Alan Brown was actually very good. But like, you know what I mean, Van den Berg there and Greg Cunningham look good. Do you know what I mean? They look very good. And I think Van den Berg, he's obviously broke into the team. he's going to be a huge assist to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For a possible playoff spot.
He absolutely could be, but I don't know. There was something about Preston yesterday. They won 3-0, but they were very poor at the back yesterday.
Yeah, they were.
Huddersfield should have had 2 or 3 of their own.
Yeah.
They were just cut open way, way too easily. All right, we move on to Rotherham, team really in trouble against Reading, who badly needed a win. Rotherham, though, started the month really, really well. 4 wins in 6 games, and they've lost every game since.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
They were good. They were okay yesterday.
They weren't bad. Morrison's strike won it. Neither side created many great openings, really, you'd say. Rotherham had so many shots in this one, and I think they only hit the target once.
Yeah.
I know Wing had a shot that classed as a shot off target.
Did they have over 17 attempts?
17 shots, 1 on target. But I know, like I was saying, one of those shots that's counted as off target was probably one of their best efforts, which was Wing, who hit some hell of a shot from distance, and it just went over.
Yeah.
Strange one. Like, it wasn't the greatest game. Reading probably needed the win, because if you look at, Barnsley and Cardiff, like we're always talking about, are chasing them down. Yeah. You had teams around them losing, in terms of Watford and Swansea.
Yeah.
So a big win for Reading as well to kind of keep them in those playoff places. And these are the games they're going to have to win, win ugly at times if they want to stay in there. And yesterday,
I think they both look very edgy. I think Reading were definitely feeling it, and they got a bit of luck, you know what I mean? But it's, I'm just, like, I was rooting for Rotherham because they were doing so well there, and they were kind of, but they're obviously, they're still in, like, there's a couple of players injured. Like, I know Salier came on, he made a small little impact, but, like, yeah, it's a shame to see, like, because they done so well to get back into the the chase for staying up and all that. And then obviously Reading have been really consistent, even though they've lost so many games all season. They were so good at the start. So they just look very edgy, very nervous, like, you know what I mean? And there's no way you predict a heavy scoring game. It was always going to be a 1-0 or a 0-all, But
very, very edgy, all right, like you said. Both teams, I suppose, not in best of form either side. So, but Reading starting to get those wins again that they need.
And they all would have crucified them yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, that's it, because, they've lost games recently that they should have won, like on paper anyway.
Yeah.
And that's really going to hurt them. And, they just need to keep those points taken over, because Barnsley and Cardiff are, and, even the likes of Borough could go on a run, and chase them down.
Birmingham could easily go on a run as well.
Huh?
They could easily go on a run, Borough.
Borough could go on a run, yeah. I mean, they're 6 points off the playoffs. It's not like they're miles away. Yeah. If you look at where Barnsley were a few weeks ago, how far away they were, how far away Cardiff were 9 games ago. Yeah. It's not impossible. We saw what Brentford did last season when they looked like it wasn't good, when they weren't going to go up automatically. Ultimately, they didn't, but that was some run they went on at the end of last season.
Yeah.
And there is a team out there that's capable of going 8-9 games, winning like 7 or 8 of those.
Yeah.
We'll wait and see who it is. Yesterday, though, for Swansea, on to the last game yesterday.
Swansea won Bristol. This is a weird game.
Very strange, because Swansea should have been about 8-0 up.
At half-time,
At half-time.
Yeah.
And it was 0-0 at half-time. Jamal Lowe had an effort that was saved by Bentley. Danda had an effort that was saved by Bentley. And then Wycombe denied Horan. Yeah, there was a free kick that he got to, and then a header that Horan should have scored.
Yeah.
Very close. But a penalty then in the second half for Swansea. Dubious enough kind of penalty, to be fair.
It wasn't.
But it was given. IU took it home, and it was 1-0 Swansea. And given what had happened in the first half, you thought, well, that's it now. They'll go on and win 3 or 4-0. But credit to Pearson. We were talking about it midweek. This is a tough first game for him.
Yeah,
and, whatever he...
Did you see that thing he had to make in the end of the first half with the young fella?
What was that?
Where he's kind of had 2 fouls that even though there was only a minute left in the half, he took them off.
He had to. He was going to be sent off.
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing is, when you're on a pitch and a guy is 1 tackle away from being sent off, you target him.
Yeah. That's it.
It was clever play.
He's a young fella.
Yeah. So it was clever because he probably didn't have experience to say, look, I'm just going to stay away from things for the next couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Pearson, though, like you said, he made a few adjustments at half time. And they made them pay for the earlier misses. Like the Swansea should have been able to.
Even in the second half, they weren't brilliant.
They were very good. I mean, the adjustments he made. But you thought when Swansea scored, it was going to knock the wind out of them. But, they levelled with Wells, his 9th of the season, a kind of a breakaway goal. Palmer then scored a goal that Swansea will be really disappointed with, straight from the corner.
Yeah.
And you have to look at the goalkeeper whenever a goal goes straight in from a corner kick.
Yeah, their last goal as well was really poor.
The last goal then as well, again, a keeper error rather. Semenyo closed down the goalkeeper, kind of just blocked his clearance. And, I mean, all he had to do was tap in from about a yard out after that. So, big win for Bristol City.
They're really, really tired.
Yeah, they were unbeaten in 13 home games this season. It's their first loss in those, 13 game run. Swansea, though, have lost 2 of their last 3. And if you think Norwich had a bad spell, Brentford had a bad spell.
Yeah.
Watford had a bit of a bad spell. Bournemouth had a bad spell. If Swansea are entering a bad spell now is not the time to be doing that.
Yeah.
But Bristol back-to-back wins.
Yeah. Very good.
Things looking a bit better for them.
Things are looking great, bro.
Yeah, and I mean, a few weeks ago, Swansea looked like they were going to knock Brentford out, push Brentford out of that, automatic promotion spot, which they still have a chance to do, obviously. Yeah. But suddenly the form has flipped on its head, and Brentford are winning and Swansea are losing.
Yeah,
that's why we love the Championship.
Yeah, it's amazing to see. But like Swansea are really, really going to have to start getting back to winning ways because Watford are chasing them down as well.
Yeah, well, they have the squad to do so. Like, you know what I mean? They do. Yeah, there's some real superstars in that squad. I think their next game is against Stoke. So it's
That's not what you want to do when you need to win. You don't want to be going away to Stoke midweek.
No.
The wind howling in there, freezing cold.
Georgie O'Callaghan always tells us the stories of playing in Stoke and Trent. Crazy place. Yeah.
It is, and it's the classic one always. Don't they say, can they win away at Stoke on Tuesday night? And it'll be Wednesday night this week, but it is not the place you want to go when you want to get a win. Yeah. You want a much easier one. So how about your goal of the week? Jan Lett,
yeah.
Brentford, yeah. What a strike that was.
And the best player. I like Barnsley's second one.
Barnsley's second goal was good, and Preston's third goal was a nice team move as well.
Yeah.
But that was some strike. I mean, you don't see many of them in a season.
No.
The player of the week?
I'm going to say Pearson.
Yeah.
That's good game.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, but I'm going to say Brad Potts.
Yeah, he was very, very good as well.
Yeah.
He did well, that's for sure. I think... I don't know who I give it for, really. Yesterday, there was a couple of good games. Like you said, you named them there. Potts did well. A hard one. Maybe to Halinovic, who came on and turned the game around there in that one. I might give it to him just because he... there was a few of them came off the bench and did well. The team of the week, the best performance team-wise?
Probably Preston.
Yeah, Preston looked good.
Well, score-wise, obviously Bristol were very good, but maybe Luton for digging in deep. You know what I mean? Luton obviously won 3-2. It was a strange old game, but the fact they dug in deep, and they were 2-0 as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think good ones there as well. Yeah, I might even give it to. Even though they're in good form, I think I'll give it to Barnsley because that's a Millwall team that doesn't lose very many matches.
Yeah.
The shock of the week, if there was one. Are we going to Swansea again?
I wouldn't.
Not much of a shock because of the new manager thing, but they hadn't lost at home all season. So for me, that would be my shock of the week.
Yeah, between that and obviously Birmingham beating QPR, even though I called it. But yeah, I'd say it should be Swansea, alright, given the fact that they're on tremendous form. The whole new manager thing always works out, doesn't it? They always win a few games.
I'm going to go with Birmingham.
Yeah, you're going with Birmingham. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the way it is. We look ahead to the games that are coming up today. kicking off in a few minutes, I think, or soon enough. Anyway, Wycombe home to Norwich. No point in score predictions for that one because this will be out before that happens. So we'll be accused of cheating.
Yeah, 12-0 Wycombe, yeah.
12-0 Wycombe, yeah. Boring 9-all draw. But there are midweek games, and I don't think there's many in the Premier League this week, one or two, but the Championship have a lot of games, as they tend to do, as they've got to try and get the season finished. Starting off Tuesday night with a big one, Cardiff versus Derby.
2-1 to Cardiff.
Yeah.
I think Cardiff at home here as well. Good game too, potentially. The next one, Coventry, Middlesbrough.
A draw.
2-2, yeah.
A draw. Yeah, I think could be a draw on that one. I think wouldn't be a bad result for Coventry. Middlesbrough obviously will want to start picking up wins to try and push it. Huddersfield home to Birmingham, 2 teams down near the bottom.
I think Birmingham.
You think Birmingham? Yeah, I think Huddersfield are going to win this one. There was something about them, even though they lost 3-0 yesterday. There was something about them early on. Millwall home to Preston.
Preston. What? I'm going to go Millwall.
I think I'll go Millwall as well. Based on what Jerry said earlier, Preston now win at home. They'll probably lose away.
Yeah.
The way things seem to go. This could be an interesting one. Forrest home to Luton.
Forrest.
3-1 Forrest.
Yeah. Forrest.
3-1 Forrest. I could see this one being a draw. Then we've got Reading against Blackburn. Another big game for Reading.
Blackburn win 4-0.
Yeah, they might, but another draw.
Another draw. Yeah, I think this one as well could end in a score draw.
Yeah.
Wednesday, then we've got the big game in midweek. Norwich home to Brentford.
1 apiece.
Yeah, I think so.
First and second.
I think so.
Yeah, 1 apiece. I have a funny feeling Brentford are going to beat them. I don't think it'll be by much. It'll be like a 1-0, a 2-1, something along those lines. But I could see a draw suiting Norwich more than Brentford, probably, really. But there you go. QPR home to Barnsley.
Barnsley 1-0.
Yeah.
Keep the run going.
Yeah.
For 6 on the bounce. Yeah, I could see Barnsley winning this one as well. Tough one to be going to try and keep the win going because QPR are not bad at home. They create a lot. They just aren't taking as much. So, yeah, I think Barnsley will win it, but I think be a good game. Watford against Wycombe.
Watford.
2 W's.
Watford 3-0.
Yeah.
3-0
Wycombe 9-1. No, I'd say Watford 3-0.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wycombe after their 12-0 hammering of Norwich will be good form. But, yeah, I think Watford at home. They're so good at home, Watford. Bristol City then. 2 wins on the bounce up against Bournemouth.
Bristol City.
You think Bristol City keep the run going?
Bristol City, but I'm going to say Bristol City.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a draw on this one, which won't do much good for Bournemouth, really.
Same.
Sheffield Wednesday against Rotherham. Big game down at the bottom.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I think they'd have a point to prove after yesterday.
Yeah, I think Wednesday as well might do it. I don't know. Something about Rotherham where they're suddenly nervy, like you said, Jerry. Just look really nervous.
Yeah. Tough one. I'm going to say Wednesday.
Yeah. And then finally, the game we kind of briefly touched on, Stoke City home to Swansea. Yeah, you think Swansea will take out Swansea? I have a feeling that this is going to be an absolute bore of a game. I think written all over this one for me. But we'll wait and see. Hopefully not. Hopefully loads of goals. But yeah, some good ones to look forward to midweek. Not sure which ones they're having on the TV, but they tend to do the red button thing, don't they, these days on Sky as well?
Yeah.
So you generally have a choice of matches. So it should be fun. Whichever games you're going to watch. I suppose Norwich, Brentford being the obvious standout one. But again, like we said, Wednesday, Rotherham down the bottom could be a good one. You wouldn't know what would happen. Millwall, Preston could be good. Forrest, Luton. There's a lot of good ones out there really in midweek. So we'll wait and see. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we will be back at the end of the week when we look back on all those midweek games. But in the meantime, thanks for listening in. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Nice.